Hello and welcome. Good afternoon from where I'm seated in the Shenandoah Valley in Harrisburg, Virginia, and good evening or good morning to whatever time it might be for those of you who are joining us. My name is Corey Schaefer. I'm the Director of Programs here at the Center for Justice and Peacebuilding, and I am delighted to be sharing this webinar today with you, a webinar we're playfully calling A Taste of SPI, today with our special guests Paula DiZolfacci and Jamila Gaskins, as we explore their course, Decolonial Possibilities. So once again, thank you for joining us. As you do, please use the comment section to share where in the world you are joining us from today. And as we move throughout this webinar, if any questions or comments arise, please do chat with us and we'll make this interactive. We will answer and have some discussions together. So before we go any further, thank you again for joining us for today's A Taste of SPI webinar. This is a free webinar series designed to give you a preview of the Summer Peacebuilding Institute experience. So these short interactive sessions offer a chance to sample our courses, meet the instructors, and engage with the questions and practices and approaches to learning that define both the Summer Peacebuilding Institute, the Center for Justice and Peacebuilding, and this course, Decolonial Possibilities. In a moment, I'm going to share a short video with you, and then I will bring on our hosts for the day. So without further ado, I will share a small video to offer a glimpse into what is the energy and the feel and the vibe of the Summer Peacebuilding Institutes. This video will be about 3.5 minutes, and then we will return to your screen momentarily. So please enjoy.
So to me, SPI is a place where people from all around the world can come together who are interested in learning and networking with each other to share stories and skills and to come together and learn about how to build peace in our communities, in ourselves, our families, and in systems of injustice.
It's just powerful. It is really powerful to be in a place where people ultimately share the same goal of a more just and peaceful world. That's a really powerful thing to be a part of.
When you come to FPI, if you're a practitioner, regardless of where you're from and regardless of sort of what your work includes, you feel like you're not alone. Participants will say, this is my place, this is my people, because people understand what I'm talking about. People understand me and I don't have to explain. And so this idea of, we don't share everything, we don't share a language even often, but when we're talking about conflict, we're talking about trying to make change happen in constructive ways and in positive ways.
Why I find SPI valuable is that I get to see multiple perspectives when I come here. I get to see people from other countries that I don't see in my normal life. And I also get to experience the curriculum of very, very different ways of dealing in the world, like the peace building, the conflict analysis, and have conversations that I don't have in my day-to-day life as a faculty member.
There aren't so many places where we get to really connect, reflect, get a little more honest with ourselves, maybe learn more from each other than we can in a typical academic or even a typical public kind of engagement situation.
There's a lot more to SPI than just the courses. First of all, it attracts really fantastic people who are looking to do good in the world and who are looking to build community.
Everybody you meet on the road of EMU, the Eastern Mennonite University, is so friendly. I tell you, this place reminds me of Africa. This place reminds me of my community. Eastern Mennonite University is a place that I have been able to bond with several people.
I experienced a tremendous sense of welcome, not just when I arrived, but throughout my time here. I felt like I was loved before I came here, that the space, that the courses, that the care materials were all prepared for me, for this learning community in a very intentional, loving way.
Don't miss out. You have to come. It is truly a unique place. It is an incubator, it is a networking space, and there's a lot that we learn and grow together here.
All right. Once again, thank you to all of those who are joining us today. And without further ado, I will invite to the stage Paula and Jamila to share about the course Decolonial Possibilities, Reimagining Peacebuilding Through Artistic Practices, which will run in session 1 of the 2026 Summer Peacebuilding Institute from May 18th to May 26th. So once again, for those who are with us, feel free to ask questions about the course, about SPI in general. Use the comment section, and we'll have a wonderful conversation today. So Paula and Jamila, over to you.
Thank you, Corey, and thank you all who are joining us. And it's so good to see you again, Paula.
Good to see you, Jamila. And thank you, Corey, for having us. Thank you, everyone who is joining and watching afterwards as well.
Yes. Those who are looking at the recording, thank you for coming afterwards. I appreciate it. So that we would get started first with introductions. So my name is Jamila Gaskins. I'm a current CJP student in the Conflict Transformation Program. I'm at the last semester of my program. I always try to think of what the little framing is for me, and I think the best way that I've thought about it so far is that my work is building care and well-being for people in the world and thinking about how we can bring multiple perspectives together that build a more complicated and rich world than we would have had normally.
Thank you. Beautiful. Well, my name is Paula Dizio-Facci, and I like to call myself a dancing peace researcher. I'm also a facilitator of creative approaches for conflict transformation, and I am someone fascinated by that sense of awe that sparks like curiosity in science, art, and spirituality, and moved by the pulse of social change. I serve as assistant professor of peacebuilding here at the Center for Justice and Peacebuilding, and it has been my pleasure to walk alongside and learn from Jamila as we have interacted in this couple of years. And I have learned a lot from Jamila's perspectives, and we are kind of launching ourselves in this journey of this course as we have this kind of bug and excitement about thinking about, okay, what are yeah, what are the challenges out there, and how can we out there and in here,
Mhm.
how can we identify them and address and transform with care, with well-being, and with joy. So yeah, I'm very excited about this course. I'm also very excited about SPI, especially after watching the video and seeing so many familiar faces and just sensing the vibe. It gets me really excited about SPI.
When you mentioned about kind of walking alongside and learning from, what just occurred to me is that even though I don't have a class with you, you will have been at the beginning of my CJP learning, and you will now be at the end. I love this, like, journeying together now and being able to move into practicing together. Not that the classroom isn't practicing, but it's different. This is different than being in the learning space as student and instructor. So I love that this is happening.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Jamila, perhaps would you like to tell us more also about your consulting work and all the things that you do as well, besides being a student?
Yes. Okay. So some of the work that I am developing is around values, and some of the challenge in having a discussion about it is that it's still such in the baby stage. I was like, she's so new. So the consultation work that I'm developing right now is with organizations, wondering if you can put together a conflict process at the start of an organization, so it's embedded into the organizational DNA. Because one thing that we understand about organizations as they go on is that regardless of whether or not the founders are still there, the founders' fingerprints and DNA are all over it. So, can we, at the beginning, put together things like um, participatory dialogue? Can we have restorative justice and transformative justice structures institutionalized within an organization so that we're always looking at the care for each other and then paying attention to the ways that structures will be reinforcing hierarchy, reinforcing harmful policies. So it's both of those things. And so I'm putting together those pillars and then using the fusion of the theories that I've learned and the models that I've learned to inform that work. So things like Max Neef's human needs. So for me, we're always talking about met or unmet needs. That is why people are doing what they're doing. And then looking at like Marie Dugan's nested model. So at what level are we talking about? What is the individual need? What are the different subsystems that are in play here? So that is the work that I'm doing, and some of the challenges around it is how do you help people understand that the values work and the covenant work of being able to say, these are our shared values, these are how we're going to relate to each other and build relationship with each other, are incredibly important in order to do the work that they want to do in the way that they want to do them. So that is my work, and thank you for asking.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for sharing a bit more. And it has been exciting to design this course together.
Mhm.
And having started also from identifying what are the values that encourage us or that inspire us in this work. And we thought that something that could be helpful to people who are interested in the course knowing is sharing also a little bit more about how we have encountered colonial violence in peacebuilding and justice and in our lives, and where are we coming from in terms of the decolonial approach. So would you like to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so from the colonial perspective, like colonial violence, one of the things that we continuously, you and I talk about a lot, is like having shared language so that we're not using the same words but meaning different things. So I just want to, for folks that are here and will be looking later, to say framing my understanding of colonial. And colonial violence. So what we're talking about is like the forced dispossession and the forced removal, in some cases, of indigenous people from their lands, the taking over of their labor, the removal of their culture in order to increase wealth for a colonial power, and how that might show up in peace building would be things like, I was thinking about this. One of them that I had heard, and this was actually at an SPI, when we're talking about dispossession of things or the power over. It was my first SPI, and we were having a conversation in the cafeteria. I can't remember which speech it was, but what they were talking about is the ways that Western powers still force people to frame what they need in terms of what Western powers believe is right for their country. So if they want to access money to improve their communities, improve their neighborhoods, they have to frame it in the way that Western folks understand it. And the way that they said it to me was like, so we're saying that we have a problem with stomach aches, and we need to understand the origin of the stomach aches. And people in the United States are like, no, we don't think that's a problem. The problem are headaches. And so you have to frame maybe your stomach ache as connected to a headache when the headache is not the issue. So it's a continuous relying on or making an indigenous population curtail what they know and how they want to take care of their land and their people as based on Western perspectives. Yeah. And what are your thoughts around decolonial? Because that's in our title.
Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. And I think of the decolonial as a response both to colonialism, like the structure of like dispossession and slavery and theft, like the historical project, as well as coloniality, which means like the continuous ways in which the framework and that culture and that understanding and the power dynamics continue to influence our lives nowadays. So decoloniality and decolonizing I see as an invitation to look at both of those, both colonialism and coloniality, and exploring ways to understand, identify, and respond to that violence, also in ways that are mostly like as a process and not as like an expected result or product, but as a process, an individual and collective process that is creative, so that we can critically reflect and address colonial violence and also harness the potential existing, like in current alternatives. The other day I heard someone saying that decolonizing started in the moment when colonialism and coloniality started. So decolonizing has also a long history in there. So harnessing and learning from all of the work that has been done, as well as like creating further strengthening solidarity for the creation of interdependent possibilities of transformation. And so I find that an exciting perspective and invitation and encouragement to work with, which means like seeing where I am perpetuating colonial violence and addressing, responding to that, and contributing to transform it, contributing to envision and imagine different possibilities.
Yes, yes. One note that I had made when I was like generating my my ideas for this conversation was around exactly what we're doing, how we are constructing this course is in a decolonial way. So part of how colonization gets reproduced is within our education systems, and how we're teaching, who we're teaching, meaning who is forward in the resources that people are reading, and then how the learning environment is constructed. And I think we are I just felt this and it felt like a braggy moment, but I'm excited about it because we're really trying to practice what it means to be decolonial from the way that we organized, like how you and I, and you mentioned it, the values that we decided that we were going to share together during this process, through how people are coming into the class and how we're going to learn together. I think this is one of the frames that also makes me excited, like how we're decolonizing or practicing through this class.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the ways I have been called into decolonizing work has been through being challenged. Right, I have been challenged by students, by peers, by colleagues, to really see where my thinking and my doing were limited or were perpetuating harm. So I find that exciting as well, that like just to continue in that journey of seeing, okay, where are the limitations that we're encountering, and how can we work together to address them and transform them, and from where we are, and from who we are in this moment together. I've also heard someone describing decolonizing as like planting the seeds or tending to the seedlings of what is it that we want to envision and see in the world. And then I have also, from that motivation, I have also dedicated some like research to decolonizing possibilities, especially in the perspective of arts, because that's one of my main research focus. And just doing that research and identifying like how much both peacebuilding and the arts have been entangled in coloniality, in perpetuating this power dynamics of hierarchies and of like certain ways of knowing and certain ways of being and doing, which are considered as the ones and the others as others or as less than. And also understanding, okay, but there is also a lot of contribution that has been made by peacebuilding and by arts. So there is vibrancy there and energy that can be used to both address and respond, which is important and necessary, and to identify, okay, what are ways in which we can then transform and do some things differently, or perhaps do things more in ways that are more connected and with care and well-being and healing, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and excuse me. So, the thing I said that sparked, I should have written it down because you said something that really came to mind. It was arts and who knows and who's involved, and also the way that I think about arts and how they're involved, because my undergraduate degree is in theater and communications. And so I'm continuously thinking about how people are being represented. And so when we're looking at things like coloniality, being able to see colorism through it, that reinforces hierarchy. So when we're looking at the arts and how we're representing people, who are the people who have power within a story? Who are the people who Yeah, how are we recreating those things? Because that shows the values that we have. It shows how we respect or don't people, where they are within the power structure of our society. It also, thinking about the story that gets constructed, is being able to say what story, and can we tell a different one? What story are we telling? And can we tell a different one? And how does that get told? Like, one of the conversations I have with people a lot when I go into their organization, when they want to talk about like inclusion or doing something different, they think of it as inviting people. So the way that inclusion happens is like how somebody comes to an event. But that's not how inclusion works. That it happens, which I think is part of the decolonization work. It happens in the actual process of creation of that event. So who is there to and has equal voice and equal weight in the way something is created. And I think about that through the arts. Who is part of the creation process? Do they get a voice in how they're being represented in something? Are they able to say, so that image that you just put up there is really sacred to us, and it means something to our community? We can have it, but we have to tell a different story if this is the thing that we're going to do. Or the way that you represented our goals is not what we actually want. And so being in that process of having that communication, I really think is an important part of the process in the communication, the weight in the voice, the way that people are represented, the colorism that shows up so that you have hierarchy, is all part of being able to pay attention to how arts might be powerful in decolonizing our peace building and our justice work.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think like one of the ways one of the things we have discussed as well is how like arts have been, like arts-based peace building is like has a long history as well of people using and engaging with the arts to contribute to peace and to conflict transformation and to justice. And there is one of the criticisms about the coloniality of arts and peace building is how often arts are used. Like there are people out there who might be in conflict, and then like peace builders often think, okay, let's have them have a theater so that they can experience the transformative power of art. And well, there is a lot of there is a transformative power there for sure. But well, there are problems with that assumption of like, okay, let's have them do that piece. And I think one of the missing aspects of the potential of arts to contribute to peace building is in peace builders ourselves going through the artistic process, so that it's not something that we bring into others to facilitate to others, but something that we incorporate into our own work. So just as you were saying, how can like what happens when like artistic processes inform our own design of a course, or inform our own decision-making process, our leadership dynamics within an institution or an organization. So those are also like ideas that we are excited to engage with in this course. And just clarification we know that there might be people who don't feel very artistic, or that could feel challenged by the idea of an arts, a class that has an arts-based approach. And yes, we understand and we hear you. This has also been part of like how the colonial process and how arts have been defined as like high arts and anything else as something less than art. And we also want to clarify and invite and encourage people to join, even like no artistic experience or anything is necessary, because we're focusing on the artistic process. So how feeling on our bodies and engaging with the artistic process can help us see and feel and sense and tap into ways of knowing and being that might not be the standard ones, or might not be the ones that we are assessing right now, so that we can really tap into the unknown, into that we cannot see yet, so that we can envision and imagine more holistic ways and more possibilities for transformation.
So I was just saying, I was like, oh, I don't want to take the class if I wasn't teaching it. But when you were saying it, I was like, I love that. But we live, and this is part of what the legacy of colonialism is, that we live so much here. Like in our heads, this is the part that's valued. So what we can logically articulate to people, what seems rational to people, and not this sense, this felt sense and body sense and ways of knowing. There was something that I saw recently, and this was on healing and working towards a more sense of wholeness. The person was saying, your body is with you in everything that happens. So why wouldn't your body have some keys to understanding the world as well? And that's what I when you were talking about, that's what I think is one of the, it's going to be a special part of it, is helping each other, because we're in this together, to say it's all right to see what is happening in here. Not just what our rational mind says, but what's going on in the body. When we're having a conversation, what's happening here? And maybe it's represented by a color, and maybe it's but what's happening? That's not just part of this part of your being.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that also informs like the pedagogical approach that we are designing for this course, or like preparing, in the sense that we're hoping it's highly participative, and that we really open ourselves to the learning process, for it to be a learning journey where we can challenge each other in like exciting and productive ways, and also contribute to one another imagination of possibility, so that we can live with an expanded sense of possibility, and also a depth of sharing and connection, so that we also leave energized to continue planting the seeds or tending to the seedlings and that have been planted before in connection. I think that's also something we have discussed about, like colonialism and how individuality, in the sense of like the individual and loneliness is so pervasive, and how like thinking about centering community and the collective in this work is also really important. So that is something that we'll be paying attention as well. And approaching the challenges and the deep and hard questions and discussions with like curiosity and empathy, with critical self-reflection, to hopefully go beyond like the helplessness or despair that often this power dynamics and colonialism, imperialism, all this violence can have us feeling. So that we can, acknowledge it, mourn it, transform it, and find like possibilities and ways of doing differently, or also finding things that we are already doing that are decolonizing.
Yes. One of the things, and I'm going to say this, and then I think we should go to your exercise. Is that part of our challenge? And we'll talk about this after your exercise. Is that part of our challenge? Is that we are continuously disconnected from each other, And we are presented a world as if this is all that it is. Like, this is always going to be it. This is the default. And I think the critical self-reflection, the interactions, the connection, like those are things that will that people will be able to take with them into the work that they're already doing, because sometimes we feel like, what is happening? Am I even doing anything in the world? I don't even know you. And yes, you are. So take the things back with you and continue to expand the work that you're already doing. And maybe from the course, have the courage to do the thing that you really want to, like, there's something you want to try, but because you've practiced courage in this course, then maybe you will take one step in order to do that. Take one step.
I love that. Beautiful. Yes. And would you share that idea that you have about like the world that we live being imagined by someone and how we can imagine differently? I love that perspective.
Yeah, so I have a master's in urban sustainability, which has a foundation in economic, environmental, racial, and social justice. There's 4 of them, and I always leave one out. But it has a foundation in that. And there was a moment in going through that process where it was like this big, like I could see the world in a completely different way to say, wait a minute, the world that I live in is based off of the beliefs and the actions of the people that came before me. And I'm presented this world as if it was, 1, a foregone conclusion, and 2, as if it will continue on. And in the process, I'm not sure how it happened, but I was like, if other people could build this world, I could build another one. And then from then on, all of the examples that were shown of people in social justice movements and human rights movements were examples of people building a different world because they believed or they could envision something different. Like, some of the challenge that we have in doing something new and not just recreating the way that I say this, like the world we live in is purple, and not just creating a lavender version of the world that we live in, like actually something new, is because we are presented this world as the default and as if we have no other choice in it. But we do. People came before us and created what we live in. We have the power, we have the creativity, we have the ingenuity to create something different, one that's based off of the ability for all of us to thrive. And when I say all of us, and I love this question that we had when we first talked about, like, could peace and justice, could it actually happen if it doesn't include the natural world, if it doesn't include the land, if it doesn't include our plants and animal relatives? I know what my answer is. Yeah. So thank you for asking that.
Yeah, I find that vision really inspiring as well. Thank you. All right, perhaps shall we do the little visualization?
Yes.
All right. So one thing we would like to, as this is like a taste of SPI, we would like to invite participants to, take a moment to just feel yourselves in your seat, or you're in standing, or however you're, or laying down, whatever you are right now. Just take a moment to notice your breath, notice your body, and perhaps take 1 or 2 deeper breaths in, if that's what feels helpful in this moment. And I would like to invite you to a bit of an imagination. And then at the end, there will be some questions that we invite you to reflect on and then post on the chat. You can choose whatever question resonates with you that you would like to share. And then we'll open for questions from the from everyone about the course or about SPI. So without further ado, here it is. Imagine being a representative at the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Sense the responsibilities that come with that role and the expectations put onto you by the people you are representing. In an increasing globalized world, recommendations and decisions regarding peace and conflict made in the international arena affect the lives of many people across the globe. Anxiety and concern can be felt in a tight stomach. It can also be noticed in tense shoulders and restless hands throughout the room. As you approach the hall, you are faced with 2 stories high painting called War. Startled faces, distraught eyes covered with hands, and arms extended up towards the sky convey horror, despair, and pain. These gestures, painted in sober deep blue hues, portray tragedy, suffering, and desperation caused by war. The painting is a reminder of the dire consequences of war for humanity. It adds gravity and seriousness to the procession of delegates entering the room. The doors close, leaving the panel behind, but the embodied and emotional impact is carried into the room. When the long meeting is over, exhaustion weighs in after what may have felt as endless hours of negotiation with varied degrees of effectiveness. As you cross the doors amidst the rustle of people, you may notice a second panel facing you. Peace shines in yellow warm tones, depicting children and youth playing, singing and dancing, and adults harvesting. The light that seems to emanate from the painting gives a sensing of harmony and serenity. A candor elicited in the chest evokes possibilities of peace. Thank you for listening. And here are a few questions that we would invite you to reflect on and share in the chat if you're willing. And here in this environment, we'll use the chat. In the class, we would use possibilities of like drawing, painting, dancing, singing, drumming, and others. But here are the questions. What would your own depiction of peace look like and war? If you had the chance to create a piece of art that leaders can see as they enter into negotiation, what would you like to communicate? How would you express it? And I have chosen this piece, this arts piece, the War and Peace panels. They are from Cândido Portinari. Cândido Portinari is a Brazilian painter, and he was he lived in the countryside in Brazil, close to where I studied. Was born and raised in Brazil. And it is striking to me how the elements of his war and his peace, although there is no direct mention of where they come from, it can be like I could relate to his own background, his city and all of that. So how that question keeps, I think it's something for us to keep on reflecting. What is the peace that I'm talking about? What is the justice that I'm talking about? And what is the justice and the peace that I want? Yeah, and then further questions about this could be, for example, who were the leaders that came to mind when you imagined the leaders coming in? Where were they from? What were their race, gender, class, nationality, ethnicity, faith? If you could imagine that leadership anew, who would you envision as leaders? Would you see yourself as one? would you see artists and communities? And yeah, that was also something striking to me, because in my own visualization, the leadership that initially came to mind were mostly like males in suits giving like very serious speeches in an environment that felt intimidating. Even though for me, like I have been in spaces where arts and community have been a part of decision-making and leadership as well. So that it raised these questions on me, like, what if art is not only hanging in the corridors, but actually informs the decision-making process itself? What if the agency for peace is seeing not only the hands that sign peace treaties, but also in the hands of those who work daily to restore the fabric of society tarnished by violence? Yeah. So these are this is an invitation to a visualization and ways of reflecting and engaging that we would in class would continue reflecting via like artistic approaches and conversation and discussion, but that we would invite you to share in the chat if you would be willing. Yeah, and Spike, hi Spike, good seeing you or reading you. Spike says, I think of Picasso's Guernica. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, watercolor. Thank you, Patty, for sharing. I would use watercolor for its ethereal quality. No recognizable people, leaders, bright colors. Add a collage approach, maybe. Oh, that sounds really exciting.
So if you care to, Patty, can you say more about the no recognizable people or leaders? Because that's curious. I'm yes. Because the idea and the idea of not having images, because sometimes I think that is also what limits our imagination, because it may also be recreating the things that we think or we see. Like it could bring in bias or things like that, but if they aren't, then we might have the ability to reimagine something.
Yeah.
So I think she might be typing because she just says, and as a language instructor, like.
And in the meantime, Jamila, would you like to share how your vision of peace would be?
Oh, I will in just a minute. If we develop a new world, then I would avoid any connection to what we see in the news every day. Recognizing people instantly draws us into an existing conflict. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think I am still working on mine. But what came to mind is I co-parent a 3.5-year-old. It looks like community work. So my sister is going to school and working, and that's part of the reason why I co-parent with her. It's having a community way that we're able to care for each other and not have our labor as part of like a profit structure, but it's part of how we express ourselves. I don't yet have a full vision, but I was thinking about, hey, what if he didn't have to go off to another place, but there are a community of folks where he gets taken care of and gets loved on, and that's the beginning of it, because I think everything spirals out from there.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And then
Spike. Community.
Yes. So I want to. Oh, we only have a couple minutes. So you, and then Spike. What is yours?
Oh, mine is like yeah, really feeling my feet on the floor, on the land, and sensing that energy coming up and sustaining and unfolding through my body as I do a gentle twist and expand my arms in possibility, like playing with the air as it caresses my skin and feeling alive, feeling nourished, and knowing that I am and that I can be and that we can be. I think that's for me what comes up.
Yeah. Yes. So Spike said, for peace, I think of a family who cultivate coffee and chocolate in the zona, and I hope I don't mispronounce this, the zona cafetera of Colombia. They welcome abandoned dogs into their home and provide care and love that are a struggle for them, strains their modest means, that kind of self-giving love that offers security, belonging, and dignity is what I think of for peace. Yes, yes.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Spike. And then Betty is asking for where she can find more about your work, Jamila.
So I'm going to say, coming soon, coming soon. And I say this because I was just facilitating something and someone else asked me, and I was like, you know what? All right, I am going to, at the very least, start a Substack and start writing things out. But I don't have anything just yet, and that's part of. And Paul and I talked a little bit about this. Is like I didn't feel like I had a voice yet, and okay, I don't know when you turn 73, but maybe before your 73rd birthday. But yeah, I didn't think yet I had a clear voice, and it wasn't until coming and being immersed here last semester that I really clarified and could articulate, I think, the way that I wanted to approach things. So yeah, it's in the works. It's in the works, Patty. Thank you for asking. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah. And are there other questions about the course, about SPI that you would like to share?
Hey, Paula and Jamila and everyone again, joining the stage here as folks might have some more questions also about SPI. I have two questions for you each as well. One question for each of you too, if I'm more clear. And that is to reflect on, and you both have shared a bit already, but reflecting on your experiences at SPI over the years and all the times you may have gone. Is there one standout memory that you would share or positive experience that has stuck with you throughout your time?
Jamila, do you have something?
I do, but I didn't want to I didn't want to take over. So I'll go if you. Okay, so my first SPI was the summer of 2022, and I stayed in the dorm, and my suite mate was a woman from Ethiopia, I believe. I'm like, Yerusum, I hope I didn't say your country, the wrong country, but I loved two things. One, sharing with each other our different ways of being, our different culture, like really being able to expand my ideas around justice and peace building and what's happening in different places. And then the other thing that's connected to that was at the end of the session, we held a dinner in our suite for our various classmates. So it felt to me as an extension of the way SPI brings people together, both for like cultural knowledge, theoretical and academic knowledge, but also a human connection and relationship building. So it was really beautiful. Like we had injera, and she made a stew, and then I brought my own cultural stuff to it. It was beautiful.
For sharing it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The meals and the shared moments and the sense of community and the potlucks with the dancing and music are, yeah, some of my favorite moments as well. And I do have one specific that I carry with a lot of joy. I also teach a class during SPI called Global Challenges, Local Struggles, Transnational Solidarities. And in one of the pieces of it, we enter into arts as well. And one of the ways of approaching do no harm, the do no harm conversation was with like a forum theater from Theater of the Oppressed. And in that piece, is particularly, I remember having Jamila and then David and then like many other students like interacting in this forum theater to develop alternatives and different ways of approaching a situation, a case study, using the do no harm approach. And I remember that I was just in awe for how participants really thought of different ways of responding to the situation in hand from a do no harm perspective in ways that would be sustaining the dignity of everyone involved. So that moment of this forum theater on like using do no harm perspectives is one of my highlights as well.
It's certainly, Summer Peacebuilding Institute is certainly a place where so many unique people come together and you can watch magic happen in those interactions, and magic that you could never predict or expect or explain ahead of time, just from the beauty of those unique people being in the room together and sharing a commitment to each other about dignity and about their values, and then seeing what blossoms from it. It's beautiful to watch. So thank you, Paula and Jamila, for offering this glimpse, this taste of SPI. We joke that at SPI, or we say that peace builders feed the world with all that they offer. And at SPI, we feed the peace builders. And so we do that in both a very literal way. There's a lot of good food and nourishing in a deep sense for what we need to be in this world and continue this work. So thank you for offering that energy, feeding us today with your time. For those of you who are with us or watching us in the future, thank you again for participating today. If you're interested in learning a bit more about the Summer Peacebuilding Institute, you can scan the QR code that is on the screen now, or you can visit emu.edu/SPI/SPI. Google Summer Peacebuilding Institute, and you'll also come to the right page. If you have any more questions, you can email us at spi@emu.edu, and we'll be happy to chat further, help you find the right courses, answer any questions you may have. So once again, thank you for being with us today. We appreciated it, and we hope to see you again in the future.
Thank you all. Thank you, Jamila. Thank you, Corey. It has been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you, Paula. Thank you, Corey, and those who join and those who come after. We appreciate your time and energy.
All right. Thank you all. See you again soon.
Thank you. Hope to see you all, or some of you, in SPI.